Alright, tonight we'll be working on the small format interchangeable core, applying light to moderate tension. Starting with 1. 1's binding. Good click on 1. 2's binding, skipping. 3's binding, deep. And there's 4. Gotta click on 4, 5. Click on 5 and 6. And we got an open. Alright, so let's pull that open. Okay, so we got it to the control line, not the operating line. Let's keep this here and bring this in. Now we're gonna do something crazy. So you can see it's open. Let's bring it to the back. You can see how I opened it up to the control, not the operating. So let's relock this back up. It's locked. It's control key. And then now we have the operating key. So real quick before we got this, like crazy people, you can see there's all the pins. All right, so why I'm able to gut this open, because I know for certain that there's not 8,000 match wafers in here. So unless you know that the key is only set for like the control and just one operating, I would not do this and just do the method. But why not open it up, right? All right, so let's open this up and take a look inside. There are no security keys in this, so this is not, you know, brown belt when I do 2 shear lines. Let's give him a wrench. Let's open this up. Pull that off. All right, so just bring the operating key. So again, not the control key, but the operating key. Okay, turn this off enough to make sure you're off the shear lines. So I brought too far in. So we're off the shear lines. Let's get a follow in there. Okay, follows in. So there's our 6 pins. Let's see. Let's drop these down. Let's go 1, 2. Wrong spot. Get back where you belong. 3. This doesn't want to participate. 4. 5. And 6. There we go. Alright, so look at this real quick. Obviously, you do not expect to have any kind of milling on the top or some under milling or counter milling. All right, so there is your key pins. I'll try to make them look a little bit nicer. Barely anything on this one when I push this in. All right, so now this is where there could be a lot of wafers if you weren't careful. All right, so let's push this back. And this is the first side. Here's the first one. And I got it. Set it on the table. That was my mistake for not having my finger back here. Okay, so there's the next one right there. You can see it. Next one, there comes the next one. So let that guy come up. Okay, there he is. That's the first guy. So I'm going to just slide this back over, so that way the one underneath doesn't fall out. We'll just drop him down. So he goes, he's the first one out. So technically he's down further, so I'll put him there where he belongs. Okay, next, let's get the second guy out. So he has almost no spring tension. So let's see if we could drop him out. There he is. There's that little guy right there. Okay, you can see why a lot of people do not bring this out. Here's the next one. See how tiny he is. Bring him a little further so we don't lose him. There he is. Okay, next one. Here this one is. Alright, let's get the next guy out. Okay, here he comes out. Get the next one. Let's bring this to this side. Go this way. Here's the first one. Here's the second one. Okay, and finally this side. Here's one. And here's the second one. I was really bad at showing you all of these. We're missing one guy right there. Where are you at? In there? He sure is. There we go. Alright. That's all of them. The springs, you can actually, the springs still in there, so I'm just going to leave the springs in there. Alright, so we'll give you a view of all of these and why they warn you about messing. Look how small these guys are. Let's turn them sideways so you can see. See how small that is? So, just to give you an idea what's inside and why the requirements are only to kind of flip around. So very, very small. But that was my blue belt. That's all I got. And one more thing I'm going to splice in at the end of this that I just realized I forgot to bring up. That took multiple takes. So I just wanted to kind of throw this at the end of the video just so you understand some things. So what I found, my technique for doing small format interchangeable cores, is that when you're working with these, you'll work on something. Sometimes because it's two shear lines, you'll just feel tension on all of them. So what I do is I found tension and then work through the rest. If you aren't pushing down and there's a good amount of tension when you don't have security pins, sometimes that's not the right tension. Like there's a binding pin, but it's not the shear line that you're working on. So when you watch me pick this and you hear me say I'm skipping two, is because what I found was when I was playing around, I would get it open. I'd play around and I would get it open, but it would take me a long time. What I realized is that if I picked and skipped two, so if I set one, skip two, go to 3, 4, there's very little lift, and I think I trigger it when I push these further back, very, very little on your number 2, and I'm able to get the open by skipping number 2. I'm still working on one video to get both. I can get both shear lines. It's a much longer video. I'm trying to bring it down, but I still haven't determined how it works. What seems to be working for the operational is I will pick the first one, skip 2 and 3, which are binding, and then do 4, 5, 6, then either go back to 3 or 2. I can't figure out which one is the next binding order that enables me to get it open with pretty good consistency. So my tips, if you're doing single format interchangeable cores or SFICs, is if you're applying a good amount of tension and the binding feels kind of weak, or it's just an opening for you, try skipping around. Try binding on 1 and then 3, and then so if you can find more than one binder, skip to a different binder and just test it out and just see how that works for you. That's what's working for me. Hopefully I'll get consistency on the binding of the number, the operating line, so that way I can get a purple belt video for this in a reasonable amount of time. That's all I got.